The Ramones, Blondie, Tucking Heads, Yankees, Mets, Giants, Jets, LIEGWB, FTR, and the BQE. Bus stops, taxi drivers, walk-ups and high-rises, Beaker Street and Mulberry, and the Staten Island Ferry, Rikers Island, Wall Street, MoMA, Lady Liberty, Park Slope, Brooklyn Heights, Williamsburg, and Bed-Stuy.
All right. Welcome to the Vinny Vella Show.
And we're back again.
And you want to know something? It's freezing in this studio, and my four girls are cold, and I'm the only one. And how do my hands feel?
No, Vin, they're hot.
Oh, stop.
My hands are
going.
hot. My hands are hot.
Yeah, it's a little cold here in New York
It's all
City.
right.
Vinny's our heater today.
I'm sorry?
You are our heater today.
Yes.
I want to be the heater.
Oh boy.
There you go. Okay.
Change it.
First of all, I want to introduce my girls, as I always do. The captain of the team, Carissa.
Hello.
Then we got Autumn.
Yes.
And then we got Cheryl.
Hello.
And we got Luba. And these are my four hosts, and they're all so beautiful. Where'd I get them? Don't ask questions. Okay. Now, tonight, we also have another great guest. This guy has been a friend of mine for years. And he's such a great actor, and he's also a singer. And
You like singers.
I do.
You do.
I do.
You like
I
to
do.
tap your toe
I
on the
do.
table.
I do. I like singers. And this guy that I'm going to introduce in a moment, we've acted together, and he's been in Sopranos, a lot of television shows, and right now he's working with, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Andy Garcia and Forest Whitaker.
Correct.
And Forest Whitaker.
What?
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
And he's doing a movie right now with them, and we're going to be working pretty soon together. I think we've worked. Oh wait, first of all, let me introduce him. Al Sapienza.
Hello.
There we go.
Welcome,
I'm
welcome.
Vinny's wingman.
There you go. Now tell me something. Now, we've worked on something before, right?
Yeah. We worked on The Sopranos.
Yeah, Sopranos.
Both on The Sopranos. We're going to do a show pretty soon, a nice little mafia comedy, hopefully.
That's right. Yeah, called Mafia
We shouldn't
Heaven.
mention it
We'll be
to
shooting that
please.
in Vegas.
And
That's your Vegas show.
and I was lucky enough to wander in to see he has a stand-up comedy act.
Yes, we know. Yes, yes.
I went to see it, and it was fantastic. I mean, you were just so funny. And it's like what was so great about it is it's not, you're not doing like yuck set up jokes. You're telling stories about your life, and they're hysterically funny, and they're captivating and interesting. And maybe we'll take it on the road. I'll be your opening act, sing a couple of songs.
There you go.
There you
You
go,
do your
guys.
comedy. We'll put on tuxedos. We'll pretend we're from the
There you
1970s and go have a
The
good
only one that
time.
hasn't seen my act was Autumn, because she's been out of town.
Yes.
But I'm going to be at the bitter end.
January.
I know.
You know,
I
I'm
can't
going to
wait.
be doing
January 13th.
another show at the bitter end because I've done 4 shows at the duplex that were all sellouts.
Right.
And there's so
I was
many
there.
people that when he's doing another show, when he's doing that, and that was the last show there.
Right.
So I'm coming back to do another show in January 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, my birthday is January 11th.
Right.
That's a good
This is
birthday
on-
present. I'm coming. I'll come again.
Celebration for his birthday.
Yeah, but we're celebrating my birthday on that night on January 13th, 2013, at 6 p.m. at the bitter end on Bleecker Street.
That's great.
That's between Thompson and West Broadway. So don't think of birthday party. Even though it's a birthday thing for me, this is not a thing with gifts. Just show up and watch the show. I don't want no gifts or anything like that.
let me
I don't
say
want to wind up going home with a bunch of stuff in my hand.
Let me say something again to wherever the audience is. I don't know where my camera is. Where's my tally light? There. Seriously, like if I wouldn't say anything if it wasn't great. You go see this show because he tells true stories about his life when he was a little
Yeah,
boy
it's
growing
true.
up in Little Italy. It is hysterical. It's just really funny. It's warm and it's it's really funny. It's a great night of entertainment. If you like comedians, go see him.
I agree.
Well, thank you so much.
I agree.
That
I
was
saw
really
it
nice.
3
Thank you.
times.
It was great.
Well,
And I'm
you know,
coming
I-
back. I'm going to come to the Bitter End again. I love the show, and then we'll
Bitter End is so
party
great,
for your
isn't
birthday
it?
besides.
Are you going to come again to the show?
Yeah, I'll come again for the Bitter End.
I'll
on
leave my
Thursday.
Good.
You know, I like doing, like people say to me sometimes, like when I've done my first show there, I've had people say, Vinny, are you going to be nervous? Well, now let's stop for a moment. First of all, I've been on TV and movies so many years, so I'm used to being, you know, in front of the camera and acting with one person and 40 people behind the camera
Sure, yeah.
watching
Yeah.
it. And then doing my TV show with my girls and an audience. So getting up there wasn't so hard for me. So people have said to me, are you going to be nervous? And I said, yeah, I guess I will be for a few moments. Not a few moments are over. So let's get to it.
Yeah, you weren't nervous at all. You were like,
Like
I
a lot of vodka, a little bit
you were telling
cranberry.
stories of your life. It was, you know, you go to Caroline's, you see guys, they do setups, they do jokes, they do punchlines. This wasn't like that. This was just, you know, these were real, honest.
Well,
What are they called? Antidotes? What are those things called?
I'm sorry?
What is it called? An antidote when you tell a story that's true about your life. It was hysterical.
Well,
It
they're
was
all,
really-
naturally, they're all true stories. They're
Right.
not fabricated, nor did I exaggerate. And
I gotta tell one thing. He was. I don't want to ruin your act. When he was a little boy, he stole all the dimes out of the parking meters. In those days, it was all the coins. So he steals all the dimes. The cops come to his house. He convinces the cops that he had a twin brother and it wasn't him, and they believe him that it was his twin brother. And then
Right.
the mother turns him into the cops. It's hysterical. It's all stories
dime.
like that.
well, let me explain that because I took a school year picture when I was in the 5th grade. I don't know, I was about 10 years old at that time. And my teacher sent us all down to the auditorium to take a school year picture. And it wasn't a group shot, it was individual shot. So I got online, took the picture, got off the line, came back on again, took another picture. So now, when you're looking at the picture, when the photographer came a month later, he said, Ms. Bruno, here is a picture of your 50 students. She goes, 50 students? I only have 49. And here you got 50, because it's impossible. And I'm over here, and I'm over here. I'm in 2 different spots. So when I was robbing parking meters, cops came to my house, and so what happened was that picture was hanging up on a wall, and he said, Vinny Vella. I said, well, I'm not Vinny, but what happened? He said, you know what happened? You like robbing parking meters. And meanwhile, my mother and father were next door at my neighbor's house. So I couldn't tell them that my mother and father were there because my mother would have ratted me out in a heartbeat. She was a rat, you know? So I said, oh, they went to Brooklyn to go visit my aunt and uncle. But I'm not Vinny, I'm Frank. What do you mean you're Frank? My twin brother. I took the picture off the wall. I said, you see, there's Vinny, there's Frank.
School picture.
One cop said, oh my God, there's freaking 2 of them. I said, what do you do now? He was robbing parking meters. I said, well, he just left. He's with his friend Eugene. And when he got me by the collar about 4 hours later, he's bringing me home. I told him I'm Frank.
You were in 5th grade and you conned the cops with
yeah.
an imaginary
I did.
twin.
So
Because
that's
you
when-
conned the photographer to take 2 pictures of you because you didn't like
Well, the
it.
photography, he had on glasses.
You can't make that up. You know what I mean? Well, you can. But you
It's
can't.
not so much that I conned the photographer. The photographer had glasses at that time, and they looked like the bottom of Coca-Cola bottles.
Oh my gosh,
So he didn't
really?
even know who the hell was
That's
online.
funny. That's funny.
And here's a friend of mine, David
Oh my
Spiegel.
God,
Please,
Dave
come over here and join
come
me.
on, Dave.
Hey, Dave, how are you?
Welcome.
You are all
Welcome.
right.
He looks comfy.
Hello, my boy. Where the hell are you?
Hi.
We're looking all over for you.
How are you doing?
Let me introduce you.
Have a seat,
Autumn,
please.
Carissa,
Nice to meet you.
Cheryl, and Luba.
Dave, you're,
Nice to meet you.
what the, you come to New York, you're sitting here on a talk show with Vinny Vella. This guy just looks like one of my regular buddies from New York, right?
Right.
This guy is the CEO of Frontier Airlines. He was the CEO of Continental Express when
I got it all here.
Keep going now. This is going to make our job very easy.
he was the CEO of U.S. Airways, of Avis. You know, this guy's like an
Frontier
American
Airlines
a
CEO.
business
You
side.
just
US
happened
Air,
to just fly on by here?
Continental, Avis Rent a Car. If I'm not out of line, what are you CEO of now?
Frontier Airlines.
Frontier
Oh,
Airlines.
Frontier Airlines.
Yes.
And you two happen to be friends? And here you are.
Very good friends.
Very
and-
nice.
Don't worry, I'll be calling you real soon.
Okay, good.
Airplane landed here.
And before we should continue the show, there's this girl that's been on my Facebook, emailing me, you name it. And I finally got to meet her tonight for the first time. And it's a busty bombshell.
Clever.
And she is a busty bombshell. And her name is Kelly, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? Wherever you are? Kelly? Yeah, okay. And you know what she did? She bought me an apple pie. It's
beautiful.
Look at this.
How
Isn't it nice? Bought me an apple pie.
Nice.
Make sure it's not spiked with anything, Vin.
Say what?
Make sure it's not spiked with anything. These women, they give you
Well,
those cakes, then they
before I
come
eat this,
around 20
I'm gonna
minutes
give
later,
somebody
you
else
never know
a
what you're
piece.
gonna try and do.
I want to make sure there's no Spanish fly in here. I'm
That's right, Vinny. You're good.
Vinny.
only joking, wherever you are, you know. But anyway,
Wherever you are, wherever you are.
yeah. So I will definitely get to that later. And let's see, what else?
Can I plug a couple of things?
Please do.
Yeah,
Plug
anybody-
away.
I know you got clips. We got everything.
I actually want to plug a couple of things. February 1st, I'm on a new TV show. It's Kevin Spacey's first television series.
Okay.
And it was created by David Fincher. David Fincher directed The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and Seven and Benjamin Button. I mean, this guy's quite a
Sure.
creative guy. And it's about how dysfunctional the U.S. House of Representatives is right now in Washington. So it's very topical. I think it's going to be a thinking man and woman's show. And Robin Wright is also in it. It premieres February 7th. It's Netflix's first original programming where they produce it and pay for everything themselves.
Sure.
So that'll be on February 1st. And I also, it's called The House of Cards.
The House of
The House of Cards.
Cards.
And that'll be out. And then in January, and we have a couple of clips from this film. I'm in a movie that Sony is releasing. It's like a bit of an art film, but it's with Forest Whitaker, Andy Garcia, and Ava Longoria. And it's a very political film. And it's a very intelligent film. It's about the corporatization, sorry, Dave, of America, and how corporations are taking over our country and the decision-making of our elected officials.
None of these
Here we go.
events can be traced back to Clearback at any cost. Right. Now, Tony was shaken up, but I think he will be all right. But, from what I just heard, I'm afraid your sister might be a problem.
What are you suggesting?
Morgan needs to be deflected.
Goldman Brothers, line 2. You gotta take it.
Bobby, how are you?
How the hell do you expect me to get this closed? Have you seen what's coming about Clearback?
Let me set up the next clip. So this movie is about a company that basically takes over all the water in a third world country. So, and it's based on a true story. Farmers couldn't even collect their own rainwater. Everything had to go through this particular company, which I won't even name. So the water is basically run by one corporation, and something backfires, and the water supply gets tainted, and people die. So they try to hide it because they have a gigantic deal in South Africa. So they're trying to cover up this whole thing. And it's this in the movie, the corporation is called Clearback, and Deborah Ungers and her brother took over the corporation once the father died. So she doesn't want it. She's finding out what happened, and doesn't want it to happen. She wants to come clean. And the brother, who's on Sons of Anarchy, Kim Coates, he's a great actor. He's from Sons of Anarchy. He wants to keep this under wraps so we can make this $2 billion deal with South Africa. So Andy Garcia is an ex-CIA agent, and he's a talk show host, and she hires him secretly to go down and find out what really happened with her family's company. And while
I won't
he's
have to go and see the movie. will I?
no, this is just the setup. This is just the setup. So she's down there, and Forest Whitaker is a local.
I'm loving it.
You know, he's a local politician, and he basically is trying to write this thing. So they're down there, and the next scene is me deciding what we should do with the two of them when they come back to America, or Canada in this case. Go ahead.
So we're going to go to another clip now?
Yeah, this is.
Okay.
These are the two clips. This movie will be out in January. At a
Well, I
theater
guess we're waiting for this other
near
clip
me.
to come on.
Okay.
No, that's okay.
In the meantime, do you ever have any cover-ups when you, as
Here it
a
is, here it is.
CEO?
Goes for bringing Francis anywhere where he could cause any more damage. Because, Bruce, if we don't, we are finished.
We've gone too far, Doug. Too far?
Bruce, listen to me. Francisco Francis has many enemies. Violent people who will stop at nothing to eliminate him. They hired an assassin, Tor. The assassin will kill Jack Bogosian and Francisco Francis. Our security will kill the assassin because they're there protecting Morgan. And Morgan will still be a liability.
Dave, give us a couple of stories.
I think I'm here to pick up some pointers.
David, if I'm not out of line, sometimes as a CEO, is there a little cover-up sometimes? I don't know. All right, don't answer that. Anyway, listen to me, Al.
Yeah.
Now, how was it to work with Forest Whitaker? Because I worked with him on Ghost Dog.
He's a terrific guy.
Isn't he a great guy?
Terrific gentleman, gigantic heart, incredible talent. You know what? The more talented they are, usually the nicer they are. It's really true.
The most what?
The more talented they are, usually the nicer they are.
That's interesting.
You know?
Al, who would you want to work with? Would you like to work
Me,
with?
I'd love to work with the director Martin Scorsese.
Sure.
Of course.
Have you worked with him?
I've never worked with
Never,
Scorsese.
okay.
I can't believe it. I can't believe you have. You were in Casino. You were fabulous in Casino.
Wow.
You were the son of a bitch. Oops.
That's
Sorry.
all right,
They kept all the records in the book. You know, you're the mafia guy that kept good records.
Well-
Everyone's like, don't keep the records. Don't keep the records. He keeps everything in bookkeeping, and everyone goes to jail because of his records.
Well, you know, when I was keeping records, I told the guy, because I said, I'm not getting paid my expenses. I said, from now on, I'm gonna keep books. He goes, what books? What are you gonna do? Pay taxes? But that's another story. But
The
what if-
FBI thanks you.
and then the FBI, right, they grab me at the end. But I'm gonna give you a tip. If you ever get to work with Scorsese, Scorsese is a director like no other director. He will expect you to know your lines and know what you're doing when you get there in front of that camera. And he'll call you before, and people will call you and make sure that you know your lines. Because when I was in Vegas, I've seen him send a few people home. And I just said, I hope I'm not on a plane doing this, looking out the window. And when I did my lines, he says, I just want you to continue doing your lines. And I'm gonna watch you in another room on a TV monitor. And he said, so just keep rabbling on. And I you know, if you improvise for like 2 minutes and 20 seconds, it might not seem like that long, but you just improvise for 2 minutes and 20 seconds, that's a lot. And he came out of the room with his hands on his head, and I thought he was gonna say to me, what the hell are you talking about?
He loved it. He must have loved
And
it.
my face turned as red as an apple, and he put his 2 hands on my shoulder and goes, perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So then I said, Marty, can I ask you for a favor, please? Sure, what is it, Vince? I said, when you like something that I do me a favor. Don't approach me with your hands on your head. I thought you were just ready to send me home, you know? But he's the best. But he will expect you to know your shit when you get in front of that camera.
That makes sense to me.
Always keep that in mind. Because I did see him, he won't embarrass you, but he will come over to you and say, you're not exactly what I thought you were going to be like on camera, so we're still going to pay you, but you're not going to be on the credits. And those guys were like leaving with their tail between them, you know? And I didn't want that to happen, man. But you know when I realized I was an actor? When there's a picture over there and a picture over here, and I fooled those cops.
That's right. That's right. You sent the cop away with an imaginary twin brother. Who's better than you?
I made him believe I had a twin.
Very, very true.
That's great.
Oh man, so now, what's your next project right now?
Well, I just finished Rookie Blue on ABC. You guys watch Rookie Blue? It's like Melrose Place with cops. It's fourth season. Anybody watch Rookie Blue? Very
There
good.
we go.
Yeah, I did that. That my episode should air in probably 2 or 3 weeks. I still have a recurring role on Person of Interest. I just did an episode.
nice.
I should have an episode of that airing like next week or the week after. I forget.
Shoot a bunch here. First interest, yeah.
Yeah. So
We're gonna have a nice time working down in Vegas, aren't we?
that would be great.
Mafia Heaven. It's a comedy. It's a comedy. No cursing. You know, some people work for God and some people work for the devil. And they don't use the word hell. So everybody that dies has to go through God. And God says, no, you go to the hot spot. That's hell, you know.
No, that's a
And,
good script. That's very funny. It was very
so
funny.
Did
It was fresh.
he send you the script or the
Yeah.
synopsis?
No, he sent me the script. I read the
The
script.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's
so we'll
funny.
see. That would be a lot of fun.
Al, were you always someone who wanted to act, or did you kind of fall into it?
I wanted to act. I was 12 years old. I went to see Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid
Oh, come on.
at the Nanuet Mall Cinema in Nanuet, New York. For real.
Yeah.
I didn't know what those people were doing.
Right.
I didn't know what a director did.
Right.
I didn't know if that was really happening or not happening.
Right.
But I just knew I wanted to do that.
Sure.
And I was like, that looks like
Did you go to
that
school and
is
have you been
fun.
doing it for years and years, or
Well,
what did you do?
I got a late start.
Right.
I didn't. I was from a family that really didn't know anything about showbiz, and they thought I was nuts. So I went to NYU. I graduated from NYU, and I didn't really start taking acting classes till I was in college. But that wasn't my major, and so I'm already getting older. And I got completely lucky. In 4 months out of college, I got in a Broadway show because I was a musician since I was 8 years old, and I got in that show Beatlemania.
Okay.
Like when the original Beatlemania came into Garden Theater. And
So you graduated from NYU?
Yes.
I graduated from R.I. State.
R.I. State?
Yeah.
What's that? Rhode Island?
Rikers Island. Oh, my God.
That's very good, Vinny.
I'll never forget when I was there. Part of one of the jokes is when I was online and I was introduced to pigtails and beans for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And a guy, and I turned around, a guy slapped some food on my plate, and I looked, and I turned around, there was a little curly thing sticking out from underneath the beans. I said, man, what the hell's that? He goes, man, did you ever have soul food before, brother? I said, no. I said, man, that's pigtails and beans, bro. I said, well, I don't eat that stuff. Maybe you guys are used to it. He goes, man, what you want, biscotti? I said,
Actually.
it ain't biscotti, you freaking moron. It's spaghetti. So he threw it at me, he threw it back. They put me in a whole daily day.
Little scuffle.
You know? Ah, man, so that's a whole nother thing. But anyway, we're going to have a ball because we got some good characters on board for Mafia Heaven. Do you know who those characters are?
No, I actually don't.
Should I tell you maybe
Of
some of
course.
them? Well, we got Frank Vincent.
Oh, my God, that's great.
He's great, but he works for the devil. And now, at one point, my name is Frankie the Schnoz.
Right.
Frankie Schnoz. And I die, and I go to
Heaven?
when I go, well, everybody goes to heaven first.
Right.
And God says, you're going down there. And he says to me, he says, you going down? I said, no, please don't bring me, don't let me go down there. It's too hot for me. You know? I have a lot of family up here. But I promise you, if you let me go back to earth, all those people that I was dealing with, I'll try to help them not commit any more sin. And please just give me a chance. And he'll try to go, you got 2 weeks. You know,
Yeah,
so,
it's gonna
but it
be
gets
great.
funnier and funny. I don't want to say too much more, but that is such a great. We got Christopher Walken's right now, and he doesn't do television, but they're in.
It's true.
They're in negotiations with him right now. Because you want to know something? Blood is thicker than water, and money is thicker than blood. Remember that. What do you think, Steve? CEO, will I make a good one?
You make a good CEO.
There you go.
They're ready to-
And so they're talking about with him right now, Johnny Roast Beef.
I buried Johnny Roast Beef up to his neck in the desert in a movie we did called Sin's Kitchen.
You know how I got that
up
name,
to his
right?
neck in the sand. He
You
started
know how
in
he
a
got
panic
that
attack.
name, right?
Because the deli, he was
He used
working
to
at
work.
deli.
He used to work in a deli,
Right.
and they used to tell him, "Don't eat any roast beef. When you want to eat all these around here, and make a ham and Swiss cheese sandwich." So the boss left one day, and he made a roast beef sandwich. It was about this big. And the boss came in while he was eating it, and he fired him. So they gave him the name Johnny Roast Beef. Anyway, listen, we don't have that much more time to go, but can I get you to get up and sing maybe one song?
I mean, okay.
Please do.
Wait, what was all that about?
No, it's right. See, let me explain. We're thinking of doing like a show maybe where he's going to do this fantastic stand-up thing, and maybe we'll go somewhere and I'll sing first and open for him, and we'll.
Great idea.
So I'll sing that song from.
You know I love hanging out with you. You know that.
What?
You know I love hanging out.
I love hanging out with you,
Okay.
Oh,
too.
you're fun.
Oh, please.
Go get it.
All right, good.
You got
Come on,
this.
say that's.
I know you
all
will.
right.
A little Neil Diamond from the 70s.
All right.
Okay.
And they play this at every Red Sox game in Boston, just like New York at the Yankee games. Where it began, I can't begin to know it, but then I know it's growing strong. Wasn't it spring? And spring became the summer. Who'd have believed you'd come along? Hands, touching hands, reaching out for me, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe and never would, but now I look at the night and it don't seem so lonely. We fill it up with only two. And when I hurt runs off my shoulders. How can I hurt when holding you? Warm, touching warm, reaching out to see, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good.
So good.
I've been inclined to believe and never would. Oh, no. I don't know, man. This is a great classic. This is just a classic. Do we have the rights to sing this? Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. Sweet Caroline, I believe they never would. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. Sweet Caroline, thank you very much. Man, Neil Diamond just rocked.